It's 6:30 straight ahead. The mayor of Rough, Oklahoma arrested after being charged with an unusual assault.
Plus, a look at how modern science helped authorities in Oklahoma move a step closer to solving a cold case.
And new information deepens the tragedy of a fatal crash in Fannin County.
Live from 12 Studios, this is News 12 AM.
Good morning, Texoma. Thanks for joining us. I'm Annette Campbell.
And I'm Kylee Dedmon. We'll bundle up this morning, Texoma, because it is a cold one outside. Many places in Texoma are at freezing or even a little bit below freezing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take a few hours to warm up too. So definitely want to get those kiddos nice and warm. Let's go to meteorologist Brian Briggs, who joins us now for this Thursday morning. Good morning.
Good morning. And yeah, lots of sunshine on the way for this afternoon. So the chill not lasting for too much longer. And it is late November, so we would expect it to cool off eventually. So this is actually very normal for this time of the year. We got low 30s and even a few upper 20s now into portions of southern Oklahoma. The rest of us dealing with 30s and even a few low 40s out there. But no matter where you are, it's cool and it's clear. We actually have cool high pressure still in place for now. And that is not expected to change either, at least for now, until it flips to warm high pressure this weekend. Bus stop forecast brought to you by McDonald's. Cold to start, but then we're going to be back in the low to mid 60s by this afternoon. So enjoyable, to say the least. And we have another cold night ahead. So maybe you're protecting the plants and the pets tonight, or did. You're going to have one more night of that to unfortunately have to look forward to. But heading into this weekend, warmer, and we're actually going to be hitting the 70s once again ahead of what is expected to be kind of a messy week of weather next week, which could impact Thanksgiving travel. So we're going to kind of boil down what you can expect because, yeah, I would say at this point, plan for some possible impacts. We're going to talk about it all in the full forecast. Until then, back to you all at the desk.
All right, thank you, Brian. Well, new this morning, the Texas Department of Public Safety has issued a silver alert out of McKinney. Take a look at your screen right here. McKinney police are looking for Wesley Browning. He's a 70-year-old black man with no hair, standing at 6'1" and about 190 pounds. He was last seen wearing a blue hooded sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and red shoes in the 4300 block of Cordera Avenue in McKinney at 6 last night. If you've seen him or heard from him, call the number on your screen.
Multiple Texoma fire departments were toned out for a structure fire near Shepherd Air Force Base Annex. That's according to Sherwood Shores Volunteer Fire Department. Whitesboro and Calliesburg departments also dispatched to help extinguish the flames. 37 years ago, the body of a woman was found off the interstate in Garvin County. For all these years, no one knew who she was or how she got there.
But thanks to DNA science, investigators are one step closer to solving the cold case. News 12's Caroline Cluis has a story.
It started back in 1987 when west of Paola, when they found an unidentified female.
Garvin County Sheriff Jim Mullet says investigators knew it was a homicide. The woman had been shot in the head. The medical examiner's report says the body found in June of 1987 had been decomposing for some time. The woman found wearing only socks had been decapitated. But who was she? There were no clues to trace.
Back then, we just didn't have the DNA, didn't have genealogy, we didn't have the resources that we have today. So, it was an unsolved case for a long time.
The breakthrough in this case came when the OSBI used forensic genetic genealogy. This is when a lab tests a DNA sample from the body and then uses traditional genealogical testing to identify the body as Molly Hogan.
And it has been a tremendous help when you're talking about a case that has spanned over this amount of time from 1987.
With a name, investigators found her family.
We're getting pieces together of her life and some things, trying to figure out why and how she came to be in Oklahoma.
News 12 wasn't able to reach Molly's family, but Mullet says they live out of state and had no idea why she was in Paola all those years ago.
We still have to find out what exactly happened, who Molly was, who she knew, where she was traveling from, and what she was doing down there exactly.
Now that we know who she is and we have a name, that maybe there's somebody out there that is seeing this newscast, they come forward and say, yeah, I did know her. I know why she was here.
Mullet is asking Garvin County residents to jog their memories. Even a small recollection could provide a big clue.
Even if they think it might be irrelevant, it's a piece that we could put together and try to help.
19-year-old Molly Hogan finally known and recognized under the Garvin County sky. The mystery of who killed her lingers on until someone comes forward. In Pauls Valley, with photojournalist Kelby Archer, Caroline Fletcher, News 12.
Well, Sheriff Mullet says it's all about getting answers for the family. Anything that you remember can help them keep the case going.
OSBI is asking for tips to be sent in to their number. You can find that at the bottom of your screen. Of course, News 12 will follow any news leads as we learn about them. Well, new details about Tuesday's early morning pursuit that crossed state lines. Court documents reveal that a man tried to steal beer at Gilly's Bar inside the Choctaw Casino. When a security guard confronted him, he threw a beer in the officer's face, punched him, and pulled a gun before taking off. That led to the pursuit. 3 men, Brian Luna, Jesus Luna, and Leon Villa, were eventually arrested in Van Alstyne after an hours-long manhunt. They are in the Grayson County Jail.
An Oklahoma City woman has been sentenced to 16 years in federal prison for international drug trafficking crimes. 61-year-old Deborah Mercer Irwin was convicted of money laundering, wire fraud, and conspiracy to distribute cocaine. Information presented in court between 2010 and 2020 shows Mercer Irwin conspired to distribute cocaine into the U.S. by illegally registering an aircraft under foreign corporations. And prosecutors say these crafts were used to smuggle cocaine and drug sales from countries in South, Central, and North America in the U.S. and Mexico.
3 people arrested in Choctaw County accused of stealing a pickup and construction equipment in Texas. Hannah Brown, Caleb Camp, and Autry Kylee are facing felony charges, including receipts of stolen property. Brown allegedly dropped off Camp and Kylee in Arthur City, Texas, to steal the truck and drive to Oklahoma. Officers say they were caught in the pickup hiding behind a Hugo gas station with chainsaws, meth, and a firearm.
The mayor of Roff has bonded out of the Pontotoc County Jail after his arrest for assault battery.
News 12's Drury Vaughn has our story.
According to Pontotoc County Under Sheriff Arnold Scott, deputies arrested Roff Mayor Darren Braun on a warrant for an incident at Roff Public Schools in October, where he allegedly hit a school teacher on crosswalk duty with his vehicle.
Evidently words were exchanged in some heated manner to where he was bumping her with his vehicle, and she wasn't going to let him through.
Police records state on October 28th, a Roff Elementary School teacher was directing crosswalk traffic as students were let out for the day, when Braun allegedly pulled up and got into a confrontation with the teacher when he wasn't allowed to pass.
To me, it just shows total disregard for any safety for students, teachers, or parents. And just because you're the mayor of Roff doesn't mean that you can be above the law.
Scott says during the confrontation, Braun allegedly struck the teacher's hip with the bumper of his vehicle, causing her to lose balance and stumble.
More words were exchanged and some profanities, and he just proceeded to bump her until he bumped her pretty hard, knocking her off balance.
Braun claims the allegations to be false, but after deputies spoke with 2 witnesses who saw the incident, Braun was arrested on a warrant and taken into custody.
Yes, he was arrested approximately around 4 o'clock yesterday, brought to the Pontotoc County Justice Center on a assault and battery with a dangerous weapon.
Braun has since posted bail from jail. He faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. In Ada, Drury Vaughn, News 12.
New information on a fatal crash in Fannin County. We've learned a second person has died. The crash happened on Thursday west of Bonham. The DPS says 72-year-old Eric McMillan of Blue Ridge died on scene, and a woman in his car, 72-year-old Donna McMillan, died on Monday. 4 others were taken to hospitals with critical injuries. The DPS says the crash happened when a Jeep crossed the center line.
Well, if you've ever had someone knock on your door pretending to be a utility worker and asking for money, you're not alone.
And scams only get more common around the holidays. News 12's Garrett Stringfellow tells us what to look out for.
Wednesday is the 9th annual Utility Scam Awareness Day. And as the weather gets colder, these scammers get busier.
They're getting pretty sophisticated these days. It's not just the door-to-door pretending to be utility workers asking for money. I mean, it's calling you, it's putting fake websites out there, it's fake phone numbers out there.
Most of these scammers will say your service will be cut off if you don't pay immediately. But Travis Buckner with Atmos Energy says any mention of payment should be an immediate red flag.
What we can tell you is, Atmos Energy is never going to come to your door and ask you for money. You already have an account set up, so you would pay the same way that you always do.
More gas usage and more distractions. Just a couple of reasons why utility scammers often use the holidays to prey on their victims.
We do see an uptick usually this time of year because of that, because those scammers do know that people are using more gas this time of year.
And while many scams heavily target the elderly, Buckner says these scams can happen to anyone.
It's a real issue. This isn't something that, it's not the, check your kids' candy at Halloween. It is an actual issue that affects everyday people.
If you are contacted by a scammer, you can report them to your utility company, local law enforcement, and the Federal Trade Commission. Reporting, Garrett Stringfellow, News 12.
A group in Oklahoma is trying to get a question on the ballot to open the primaries. A petition was filed this week with the Secretary of State's Office for State Question 835. It would place all congressional, state, and county candidates, regardless of political affiliation, on the June primary election ballot. The top 2 candidates would advance to the November general election ballot. Oklahoma's current primary system is partially closed. 835 must be approved by the state Supreme Court and receive more than 170,000 signatures to reach the ballot. If approved, it would go into effect during the 2028 election cycle.
Sherman City Manager Robbie Hefton announced his retirement recently. The city has since laid out a month-long plan to find his replacement. It will first start by looking at internal candidates until the end of the month. By mid-December, the city could then open the application process to external candidates. Hefton will officially retire in early January. The city of Van Alstyne is pushing for a new public safety building, but residents are concerned about its proposed location.
News 12's Talia Munson was at last night's zoning meeting.
Residents and city officials all agree a new public safety facility is needed. A $30 million project will fund a 45,000 square foot building, but the location isn't ideal for some who live near the proposed site.
How you're going to do this will affect me. I'm worried about the lights, all at nighttime. That's where our bedrooms are, that's where our family room is.
What is the congestion going to be? What's the noise level going to be? When are they going to turn those sirens on?
So let's go for it, but let's also respect our budgets. Let's respect the citizens who've made their voices known. Let's respect the children in the area with it being near a school.
The primary goal is to make sure that as we consider zoning changes, that the city is going to address these issues with the citizens.
The city manager says they're willing to schedule future meetings and work with residents and allow architects to consider the input. The board approved the recommendation for the zoning change unanimously. Now, it will go before the city council in January. In Van Alstyne, Talia Munson, News 12.
Well, it's a very chilly morning this morning, so make sure you grab those winter jackets, truly. I mean, it's that cold.
Yeah, we're starting to get, as we're getting closer to Thanksgiving and closer to December, we're definitely starting to feel those winter-like temperatures.
Yeah, and I think we're in for a big surprise as we start December. If you want a nice, healthy taste of Christmas, we're keeping an eye on something pretty serious for that time frame. That's about 2 weeks away, though, and we still have time to kind of iron out the details. But I know next week, at least, we're officially a week away from Turkey Day, and we've got a lot of travel on our hands here, especially if you're heading out of state or expecting some folks in from far distances. So we're going to talk about next week's forecast, kind of what we're dealing with. At least for now, though, quiet. It's just chilly. And thank goodness there is no wind out there, because those wind chills would be quite brutal. We have most of us in the 30s, Antlers 28. So kind of a harder freeze in parts of southern Oklahoma, but the sun is coming up and that will help us to defrost. As we head into this afternoon, we saw a high of 60 yesterday and a low of 41, which is pretty much right on the mark for where we're supposed to be for this time of the year. So feels cool to us, just considering that so far this fall has been very out of character, and it kind of goes back to that, at least as we head into this weekend and the start of next week. A live look at your southeastern tower cam. Clear skies out there as that sun comes up. Cool high pressure anchored across the region, at least for now. Transitions to more of a warm high pressure into this weekend. So very similar conditions to yesterday, maybe just a tad warmer, with those highs climbing back into the 60s for most. So maybe a light layer needed, but honestly, it's going to be very, very nice to get out. Now, here's the thing. If you are protecting sensitive plants or even bringing the pets in, we have another night of potential freezing temperatures, especially in southern Oklahoma. This is what our temperature map for this morning looked like yesterday. So keep in mind, we are running much colder, so that could be the case tomorrow too. So don't chance it. Cover up those plants and protect the pets. Pipes should be all right, at least for the moment, considering that, again, we're just hitting freezing briefly. But it'll be enough to, unfortunately, tamper with some of those sensitive vegetations. Here's a look at your Lake Texoma stats and a look at your fish and game forecast, which is brought to you by Blackbeard Marine. Good luck if you're going to be heading out and about. So here's the scoop. If you're going to be doing some long distance travel this Thanksgiving and just holiday season for next week, high pressure keeps us pretty boring here, and all that red is warmth, so we don't have much to worry about. But notice as we get into next week, that jet stream and that separation between the colors becoming more notable. We're throwing an area of low pressure in. This is the day before Thanksgiving when a lot of folks will be traveling, and we're going to have a mess on our hands as a storm system will be rolling through much of the United States. So just heads up there. So not only will it be kind of tricky as we head to our destinations for Thanksgiving, but notice off towards the north, this bright area of blue, even close to white, that is what I'm keeping an eye on for the start of December, because if the models continue to trend the way that they're trending, there could be a point where we start the month off with highs well below freezing. Can't quite set that in stone yet, but it's something definitely to keep an eye on, and it will likely impact travel on the flip side of the Thanksgiving travel time frame too. We'll keep you updated, but that's going to be it for weather.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us at 6:48. The sun is up and not doing much. It is still pretty cold out there. Most of us in Texoma are looking at temperatures in the 30s, so grab a jacket. You're going to need it this morning. We'll check in with Brian here in a few minutes. Well, it's been a long road with a lot of bumps along the way, but Cherry Street in Sherman is getting repaved.
Yeah, News 12's Aaron Pillay tells us about the project.
Sherman's East Cherry Street has long been ridden with potholes and uneven cement, making for a bumpy ride.
Cherry Street has been something that the city of Sherman has been dealing with, or more appropriately not dealing with, for far too long now.
In recent months, the city has put a focus on improving the road.
East Cherry Street recently went under some minor changes. This is because in August, Sherman City Council approved about $50,000 for temporary fixes to make the street a safer, smoother drive until the big replacement project could get underway.
That project is finally here.
The plan all along has been to come back and to tear out all of the concrete underneath, which was what was causing the problems in the street to begin with.
Sherman City Council approved a nearly $1 million contract to have the entirety of Cherry Street redone.
It will be the solution that the city had always promised these people. It's just taken us a long time to get here.
The city will eventually tackle other streets that are also in poor condition.
This is the first of what will be several major street rebuilds in the city over the course of the next several years, as the city council has really grabbed onto the issue of the quality of our older roads.
The project is set to begin in early 2025 and will take several months.
By the time next summer comes around, that will be a completed project, and we can finally close the book on Cherry Street.
In Sherman, Aaron Pillay, News 12.
You're watching News 12 AM with Annette Campbell, Kylee Dedmon, and from the Weather Authority, here's meteorologist Brian Briggs, Texoma's most watched news.
Good Thursday morning, Texoma. Hopefully you're staying warm out there. Weather-wise, one of the coldest mornings we've seen here in some time. Considering that, yeah, we've had a few mornings like this in October, but reaching down into North Texas and even further south, yeah, it is chilly no matter where you are. 30s for a lot of us and even a few upper 20s and also a few lower 40s. The good news is the winds are calm, so there is no wind chill. It feels exactly how it is outside. So grab that hot coffee, that hot chocolate. You're going to need it on your way out. And we're going to be seeing those temperatures, thankfully, warming back up to the 60s, though, this afternoon, which yesterday you literally could not get any more perfect for later November because we had a high of 60, which is normal for this time of the year, and a low 41, which was just 1 degree off. All things being considered, it's rare to get right on the dot like that. And yeah, that being said, we're actually going to be trending warmer and dry still as we head into this upcoming weekend. Live look at your southeastern tower cam, sun coming up there. Another glorious morning. Crystal clear blue skies as far as the eye can see. Big picture shows that high pressure very much rooted over us. In terms of the storm system, this one's actually the same one that brought us rain on Monday. It's pretty much parked over the upper Midwest, giving them a lot of snow. For us here in Texoma, though, no snow, at least for now. So enjoy today. We see a near repeat as we go into the start of the weekend, too. And actually, heads up if you're doing precautions for sensitive vegetation, like plants and flowers, things like that, and also keeping your pets in. Could have another night of freezing temperatures into your Friday morning, and then those temperatures climbing back to the mid-60s for tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be really nice. Here's a look at your Lake Texoma stats. The winds will also be calm too in the next couple days, so that should help with conditions out there. And here's your fishing game forecast, which is brought to you by Blackbeard Marine. Good luck if you're going to be heading out and about. So here's the scoop on the long range, because we're getting to that time period now where a lot of folks are dialing into what is expected not only this weekend but next week, all thanks to the Thanksgiving holiday forecast. So area of low pressure on the East Coast will kind of linger here for the next couple days. Then we have that warm high pressure over us here as we go into this weekend and the start of next week. But as we start to get into the heart of the travel season, especially for the day before Thanksgiving, we've got some pretty cold air to the north, warm to the south, area of low pressure right in between. So that's going to make for some really rough travel conditions, especially if you're traveling outside of Texoma. Then following, what we're keeping an eye on is this, actually up into Canada. This is for next Friday. Could really bring us some cold air, not only for the weekend after Thanksgiving, but even in the first week of December. Long-range models are picking up on what could be a major Arctic blast. So we're going to keep you updated for Texoma, though, in terms of the weather leading up to Thanksgiving, not looking too bad as of right now. But if you're traveling, as mentioned, be ready for some impacts and possible delays.
East Central University's newest addition has been named after Chickasaw citizen Dan Hayes. The STEM building will honor Hayes, who played a big part in establishing East Central State Normal School in 1909 and donated 16 acres of his own land for the Science Hall to be constructed. Well, time now is 6:56. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
A cold start is going to lead to lots of sunshine today, with highs getting back into the low to mid 60s. Enjoy it. A little bit cool as we head into the weekend, but a quick warm up into next week, followed by, at least for us here in Texoma, kind of cloudier, cooler conditions for the Thanksgiving time frame. Honestly, if you are traveling, or maybe you know some folks coming into next week, it's going to be kind of a messy week across the United States. So definitely keep up to date with the forecast, because yeah, it could be some impacts.
Not what we wanted to hear.
No. All right, thanks, Brian. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you back here for your Friday.
Have a great day.